Good morning and welcome back. I'm Mabel Jong and you're watching Day 2 coverage of the World Healthcare Congress here in Washington, D.C. And I'm very pleased to welcome back John Shagoury, who is President and CEO of Eliza. Welcome back, John.
Thank you, Mabel. Great to be here.
Great to see you. Now just give me a brief description of what Eliza is.
So Eliza is in the health engagement business. So we engage individuals and close gaps in care using behavioral science-driven analytics and multi-channel communications to make interventions more effective and more efficient.
Okay, so you're really in the business of knowing people, what their behaviors are, what drives those behaviors, so you can really advise clients on what works best with them to engage them?
Yes, absolutely. It's understanding the individual, understanding both their likeliness to want to engage with their health plan or their PBM or those organizations, and then understanding both how they like to be communicated to. Some individuals prefer to be on a phone call, others prefer email or text or different methodologies, and then on top of that, what to say once you reach them. Right. Because understanding how to reach them is the first part. Knowing what to say to get them to take the action is right. Really the hard part. And our specialty really goes all the way along that continuum.
And that's fascinating stuff. So you really have done a lot of research, trial and error, to find out what works. Can you give me a brief description of how people like to be reached? Generally, sure. And what they like to hear once you reach them?
Well, I think it's a combination of many things. You know, we've been in the business for 15 years, so we have a pretty substantial data asset. We've, had over 1.5 billion conversations with individuals, so we understand how to talk to people. We understand how to differentiate messages based on everything from their profiles, their age, their various demographics, and most importantly, how to talk to them in a way that's pleasing, that's engaging, but ultimately will not only get them to take action, but leave with a positive experience from the interaction so that they feel good about their health plan or their PBM. They feel that they really do care about them as individuals. So for example, as we think about messaging to people, if we're doing messaging out to 30-year-old males, for example, healthy males with good jobs. If that male is single, healthy, good job, he probably thinks of himself as what we call a young invincible. Nothing can happen to him. He takes good care of himself. He really doesn't need to hear from his health plan. But if you're a 30-year-old male with 2 kids and a mortgage, we have to speak to you differently. We have to appeal to your sense of responsibility so that the message gets through and you really take the action and feel that your health plan understands who you are. So a lot of that behavioral science has been built up over the 15 years worth of data that we have. And the testing we do, the trials we do on different types of messaging. So we're continually learning and continually refining how we reach out to people to really drive the kind of results and get them to take the actions that really are in their best interest.
And as we get further and further into the healthcare space changing and reinventing itself, do you also have to be nimble with the kinds of messaging that you're doing based on what the plans are telling you they want to say?
Yeah, you have to be able to relate to somebody, right? When you're able to either get them on the phone or get them to open an email or read a message, it has to resonate, right? It's the old adage, just like, print advertising. If you don't catch somebody in the first 2 seconds or 3 seconds, you've lost them. So you have to be on top of what's important to them, what's important to their life, how their health, translates into everyday living and why things are important so that the message resonates and they're willing to both engage in that conversation and then take the action.
Do you constantly battle information fatigue challenges where people are getting so many messages and they're so divided in their time with what they need to pay attention to?
There's always that issue. I mean, we all face that in everyday life. When we work with our customers, we don't think about a specific episode of sending a message about one particular thing. but we tend to sit back and build an engagement strategy over the course of the year. So as a health plan, we'll look at an individual member and say, what are you trying to accomplish with that member over the course of the year? Well, based on the conditions they have, what kind of health they're in and what the plan is trying to accomplish, and everything from their quality measures to their HEDIS scores to getting certain exams done. And then you build an engagement strategy over the course of the year so they don't feel the health plan's being abrasive and over communicating, that they understand that individual. And then we tailor those outreaches so that the second outreach is, and the message on the second outreach is driven by the result of the first conversation. So, there's a lot of sophisticated logic that goes into building and executing an engagement strategy that at the end of the year results in that member taking all the appropriate actions, but also feeling good about the health plan, positive user experience, good net promoter scores, certain cases, retention if they have the option of renewing or choosing a different plan. So it's a bigger, broader communication strategy than a simple outreach, hey, go get a flu shot.
Yes, right. What is the message you're leaving with attendees as you speak with people during this conference?
I think the key message is that engagement is a critical part to success. If you think about in healthcare, they have this concept of the triple aim, right? Improving outcomes, improving quality of care, and driving down cost of care, right? Patient engagement or member engagement is a very key component of that. Building that relationship and really understanding the member to the point that you can drive the right behavior to drive the right outcomes and drive up member satisfaction is really what we specialize in. It's what we do well, what we do best, and we have a lot of very satisfied customers because of that.
Okay. And may I ask what keeps you coming back to the World Healthcare Congress?
New things happening all the time, new topics, and our ability to reach more people. Our business continues to evolve, so every year we're continuing to enhance the message in terms of what we've learned in the past year, the things we're seeing, and how we can apply that. So we found World Health Congress to be a wonderful opportunity for us to engage in conversations with people we may not be doing business with today and put people together to help solve the challenges that they have.
Okay, John Shagoury, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. It's always great to be here.
I appreciate it. And I'm Mabel Jong. Thanks for watching. We have much more to come.